So, hi everyone. My name is Barbie Vartanian, and I am the Executive Director of Project Accessible Oral Health, which is a global public-private initiative to improve access to oral health care for those with disabilities. So, um, you know, our focus has, kind of been in three areas: policy, education, identifying gaps, ensuring that the individuals themselves and their caregivers are aware of resources, working with academia to make sure that curriculum is what it needs to be, and then also, the biggest thing is advocacy and awareness. Elevating this issue at a national scale so that we can do more, so that we can affect change, whether it be with reimbursement, whether it be in making sure that dentistry in and of itself is deemed essential and important in these very unprecedented times. I am also the mother of a 12-year-old little boy with autism who is nonverbal. And through this pandemic, it has definitely opened my eyes even further to the disparities that this population faces. And again, I would say from everything from healthcare to education, and how this population was considered, or rather not considered, in the way in which they returned to school, and how they could make kind of out of the box accommodations for our students. It just kind of seemed to never happen. And so as weeks grew into months, and now months, gosh, could be coming up on a year that we've been living in this new norm. I personally have had to make a lot of adaptations to help ensure that my son continues to still thrive, although very difficultly. We've seen a ton of regression, we've seen a ton of aggression, because for our population, they've lost the services that they've become so dependent on, and they're no longer able to be active little members in their community. Special Olympics activities are no longer something that they can do, and things like that. So it's been really, really difficult. And again, it just highlights how, I feel personally and professionally that our population isn't considered in so many of the decision making. I mean, early on we talked about, how this population would be supported if in fact they did contract COVID and had to go into a hospital, and allowing somebody to be there, to be their voice, and things like that. So it's almost unbelievable to me. It makes you want to fight harder and do more, and ensure that this community has a voice. But again, it just, it's been a tough time. People always ask, "Oh, how are you doing?" And it's such a a loaded question. I think we all on the caregiver side are doing the absolute best that we can. Again, it's been very, very difficult, and obviously it impacts the family as a whole. As we all try to work from home and still, again, maintain some sort of semblance of normalcy with our our neurotypical kids, and then the integration of having our child with special needs at home, and trying to make sure that we can live cohesively and at peace has been definitely a challenge. So we're such a strong community of those that live it, and I've found support through some parent groups and things like that have really helped. Just being able to talk it through and share war stories has been helpful, because to try and do it alone, it's very, very overwhelming, because oftentimes you feel very alone in this, because there's everyone is struggling during this time, and so you feel like, oh gosh, I don't want to go down my path of telling my story, because so many people have been affected so tremendously in all of this, and I know our community is not special in that regard, but they truly are special. So those that are having those challenges and things like that, you come and spend a day in the life of a family with a child with special needs, and oh my goodness, will your eyes be opened, and I think you'd be blown away at the challenges that parents are facing right now. And again, so I know I'm not alone, but I really hope that when this is all said and done, and God forbid something like this ever were to happen again, I think again we just need to continue to make sure that this community is considered first and not last. And again, from everything to from education to healthcare, I mean, and everything in between, there has to be ways in which we can continue to keep this population moving forward instead of backwards in all of this. And so, I'm very thankful that I have the opportunity to work on some of those issues from a professional side, but then also, continuing to advocate for my son on the personal side, and all of the things that, he needs and things like that.
Here, I'm gonna just take a picture of you. Smile. Nice, thank you. Here, I'm gonna push, here, I'm gonna